You're listening to Left at the Valley 2.0.
Let's do a top 10 or something like 10.
Something like 10. Well, thanks for the lead in there. Again, well, it is 9/11. So, well, it was 9/11. And so instead of a top 10, it's more of stories. So I've got some heroic stories of 9/11.
There you go.
Nice.
So number 10 it's not really about a person, but more about the boats of 9/11. So no one really
don't tell
thinks,
me boats flew into planes too. I mean,
No.
boats flew into buildings.
nobody thinks about Manhattan really being an island until they need to get out of it in a hurry, right?
Yeah,
So the attacks of September 11th kind of highlighted this fact that you're in the middle of an island. So some of the people were able to, of course, travel north and cross the Brooklyn Bridge on foot, but a lot of people had no choice but to go south, so to the water. So instead of finding themselves trapped, they were actually met by boats ready to provide transportation. Boats actually had started to get there and gather up there before the Coast Guard even asked for help. So there was, in the end, there was more than 100 boats, from ferries and tugboats, fishing boats, and dinner cruise yacht boats that took part in this boat lift. They estimate about 500,000 people were carried away that day.
Wow.
Yeah, 500,000 people. That's crazy.
That's a lot of taxiing back and forth, man.
Yeah. So number 9, a tour guide named Dobozensky. He was working at the Pentagon, and he actually was at the far end when the plane hit. He didn't even hear it. He was that far away. But he realized that there was something going on, and he's a volunteer firefighter, so he went and gave medical aid to the people outside, and then he went back into the building to part of the rescue efforts while it was still burning.
Jesus.
So at number 8, right after, which is why I was kind of giving you a stink eye, after the third plane hit the Pentagon, Colonel Mark Sasseville and his wingman,
Colonel Mark Sasseville?
Yeah, that was his nickname.
Mark Sasseville.
And Lieutenant Heather Lucky Penny.
What?
Who,
Lucky Penny?
Yeah, well, her name is Heather Penny, so her nickname is Lucky Penny. Yeah. So,
blowing this for me. I gotta give it a second.
Yeah, and she actually, I don't know if you watched the one with me, but she had just gotten the right to fly an F-16. Like, I can't remember exactly. Anyways, they were the two that flew the unarmed F-16s. So, intending to stop any other hijacked airliners. They also knew they were unarmed, of course, so they were prepared to just give up their lives. The colonel told his lieutenant that he would take the cockpit. So, by saying that, she knew she was meant to hit the tail.
Wow.
So they knew it was a suicide mission.
If there was another plane that was heading for one of these buildings, he was supposed to crash on the front.
They knew
she was
about
supposed to take the tail.
They knew about Flight 93, so they were just keeping the airspace safe up above Washington, D.C., because they knew where it was headed.
Do you think it's possible, like, if you could get in the right trajectory and then, like, eject? Could you do that?
I was wondering about that.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Like, get to where you're flying right towards it and then eject yourself.
And then just get the fuck out of there.
Still, eject and you're so close to the crash. There's a very good possibility you're not going to make it either way.
Yeah.
I would do it at the
worth
last
a
second.
shot.
Worth a shot.
I think I would take the shot.
Yeah.
I have no training, so I don't know.
Last second, just the nose is hitting it, and I'm pulling.
That's what I'm saying, though. So, but okay, here's the thing I don't understand. So the F-16 is completely unarmed. Like, I get that they don't have missiles, but they also tend to have like guns of some sort or something on there, right?
But if they don't have ammunition,
they're actually loaded or not when they're on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not sure. She didn't mention anything in the
we know they're not loaded they're not loaded with like powerful enough missiles when on the ground. We know that.
Yeah.
But we don't know if the ammo for the machine gun is actually loaded or not either. So
probably not.
Right.
I'm assuming based on the fact they said they were unarmed, but
right. That's because they probably do have the guns.
Even if you shoot bullets, it takes a lot of bullets to take down an airplane.
Like, and they knew these were So actual like commercial airline. So
And a specific kind of ammo. Like,
And,
yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that no matter, we can watch as many movies as we want. Even if you say, well, I'm just going to shoot down the engines, I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen that easily.
No,
Well, it's like if the guy's
try to aim that.
It's like if the guy's driving at you and you're like, I'll just shoot the driver. Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, good luck
You
with
got a
that.
shot.
Yeah. Or the guy running down the legs. No. That
Yeah,
doesn't-
exactly.
that doesn't happen.
Yeah. They could just
So-
shoot at the front of the plane and kill the pilot.
So number 7, 2 former Marines, Jason Thomas and Dave Carnes, put their uniforms back on and they went down to the rubble and they started searching around. And they actually managed to find 2 survivors who were Port Authority police officers named William Jimeno and John McLaughlin. They were buried about 20 feet below the surface. It took rescuers 3 hours to extract William and another 8 hours to get to John McLaughlin.
Wow.
Goodness.
That would suck.
That's literally my worst nightmare.
Right.
Oh,
Me too. We were
yeah.
talking about that, and it's something that
Buried alive
it's
like that.
terrifying.
It's like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So number 6 is Frank DiMartini, who is a construction manager who worked for the Port Authority, and Pablo Ortez, who is also a Port Authority construction instructor. They were inside the North Tower when it was hit, and they saved about 50 lives. They had survived when the tower was first hit, and instead of seeking safety, they began to help the people that were trapped on the 88th and 89th floors. So along with some of their co-workers, they are thought to have saved at least 50 lives by opening stuck elevator doors, clearing offices, directing people to exits, and otherwise providing a lifeline. They were likely trying to come to the aid of additional people when the tower collapsed at 10:28 a.m. and they didn't make it out.
Yeah.
There's so many of that.
Mm-hmm. Number 5, I'm probably going to massacre the last names, and I apologize in advance. Michael Benfante and John Sequiera carried a wheelchair-bound woman to safety. So after the attacks, they were exiting the World Trade Center towers by the elevators wasn't really an option, as we know.
Yep.
So those on the upper floors were going down the stairwells, and when Michael Benfante encountered Tina Hansen, who was wheelchair bound on the 68th floor, he and his coworker John carried her. She was in a lightweight emergency chair, and they carried her down the flights and through treacherous conditions. So they actually all made it out.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for
Yeah.
them. That's
So they
great.
saved life.
Put on your back on your shoulder like a bag of potatoes and just
Yeah.
go, man. Forget the wheelchair.
Number 4, a 24-year-old equities trader named Wells Crowther. He helped at least a dozen people get out, and then he went back in with firefighters to save more people. So just a few minutes after the Flight 175 hit the South Tower, he called his mom and left a voicemail. He said, "Mom, this is Wells. I want you to know that I'm okay." He was on the 104th floor, but after that call, he got down to the 78th floor sky lobby, and he became a hero to strangers, known only as the man in the red bandana. He directed survivors to the stairway, and he encouraged them to help others while he carried an injured woman on his back.
And his name is Wells Crowther?
Wells Crowther, yes. After bringing her 15 floors down to safety, he went back up to help other people. He was heard saying, "Everyone who can stand, stand now." And while directing them to a stairway exit, he said, "If you can help others, do so." His body was later recovered alongside firefighters in a stairwell heading back up in the tower with a Jaws of Life rescue tool.
Man.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Sounds
that
like
one gave me
Yeah.
some goosebumpies.
Sounds like a Stephen King character. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Like, that just sounds like a
Amazing. That's
Stephen
who
King
he was.
character.
He's 24. The passengers, of course, of Flight 93, especially Todd Beamer, Mark Bingham, and Tom Burnett, and Jeremy Glick. Of course, they fought the hijackers and prevented the plane from reaching its intended target. So from 9:57, the cockpit recorder picks up the sounds of fighting and an aircraft losing control at 30,000 feet. There were the sounds of trolleys crashing and dishes breaking. And over this, you can hear the terrorists scream at each other to hold the door against what is obviously a siege from the cabin. A passenger cries, "Let's go get them." and there's more screaming, and then an apparent breach. "Give it to me," shouts a passenger, and then apparently seizes the controls. So instead of the plane hitting its intended target, which is believed to be the White House or the Capitol building, it crashed in an empty field and killed all 44 passengers on board.
I would say probably the Capitol building. The White House is a fairly small target to hit.
Yes, I agree. I think
No.
the Capitol building was probably what.
Yeah, everybody says
Or
that. I was
perhaps
like,
back to the Pentagon, to be quite honest. The Pentagon's huge.
Yeah, the Pentagon is huge.
So,
I mean, it makes you wonder though, like, because why, you know, you think you'd want to take out the main dude, right? But
Mhm. He wasn't even
but-
there.
you can, well, okay, right, yeah, and presidents can change, really.
Well, yeah, but with that mentality, hitting the Capitol wouldn't be a good target either, because usually the Capitol is not like bustling with people either.
Yeah.
They're there,
No,
when
which is-
they're in session, but
Yeah.
most of the time they're not.
Especially if you hit New York Towers first.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I think it was about casualties. It was about making a statement. So I believe that the second plane was probably headed for the Pentagon as well.
yeah.
But totally
We'll
opinion
never know.
piece, right? We won't ever
Right.
know because the
You know-
passengers of Flight 93. So we thank them.
Good on them for doing so. And
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I find it interesting because they say that those hijackers hit those planes with X-Acto knives and little weaponry like that. It's like, are you kidding me? Just by sheer number, okay, a few of us will get caught, but goddamn, just rush all of them. Just rush these 3-4 guys. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's always
Well,
been my thought, like, all right, a few of us will go get cut, and then we'll beat the shit out of these bastards.
You
Yeah,
might
I mean-
lose one or two, but goddamn, man.
I
But
wonder.
the thing is, like, they never the official protocol for hijackers is just chill out. They're just gonna take you somewhere where
Mm-hmm.
they want their people to be freed or whatever, and it's not a big deal. Like, you
Yes,
know what I
and
mean?
that's
So
the
Yeah,
problem.
they
that was the
didn't
official
realize it was
protocol.
suicide. Yeah, they didn't
Like-
realize people knew it was a suicide mission and didn't care.
Right. Yeah. Nobody thought that was going to be the case because, like,
Yeah.
that's not normally the case. Like, your normal hijacker just is like, hey, I got to go pick up these people from whatever and, like, and get out of here or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
It's not like Hollywood, right? When you see
Yeah.
hijacking, they're usually guys with machine guns and everything like that. It's guys with box cutters,
Mhm.
Even if it's 3, 4, even 10 of them in a plane with box cutters, I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at all the other passengers and I'm trying to rally them. Let's get them, guys. I mean,
Mhm.
come on, sheer numbers here.
Which is exactly what happened on Flight
Yeah.
93. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Which is, yeah, exactly. Because once they
So-
realized what was happening, it
Mhm.
was easy to go, oh, that's not, okay, we're all going to die then. Like, we need to
We're all
get these
dying
guys.
anyway.
Yeah.
Let's save some others.
Because
Yeah.
the concept is that normally they're not going to kill. We're not all going to die. We're just
Yeah,
gonna
normally it's
land
just a-
somewhere.
And
do
really,
it.
I highly doubt that those people in the air even knew what had happened to the other 3 planes. I mean, they were all in the air at the same time, so
They did it. Yeah,
they
did
didn't
it.
know. They didn't know that they were actually, the tail end of a horrible terrorist attack. So
Yeah. Once they figured it out by people using their cell phone when you're not supposed to be.
No.
By the way, but that's all right because
Yeah.
it was
yeah, we heard a voice
extenuating circumstances.
of a mother that left a message for her son saying, like, you go get them. One of the sons that was part of the.
He said, "Let's roll."
Yeah, I don't know that he ever heard it, the voicemail, but she left it. So, number 2 are 2 flight attendants on American Airlines Flight 11, Betty Ong and Amy Sweeney. They both made calls that led to American Airlines having the names, addresses, and other information on 3 of the 5 hijackers, which helped the FBI determine the perpetrators were Al Qaeda. So these 2 women remained amazingly calm. Betty called the American Airlines Reservation Center and said, okay, my name is Betty Ong. I'm number 3 on Flight 11, and the cockpit is not answering their phone, and there's somebody stabbed in business class, and we can't breathe in business class. Somebody's got mace or something. She explained that some of their crew had been murdered, and the hijackers were in the cockpit. She told them what the hijackers looked like and what their seat numbers were. Amy also did the same. According to the New York Observer, Sweeney slid into a passenger seat in the next to last row of coach and used an airphone to call American Airlines flight service at Boston's Logan Airport. This is Amy Sweeney, she reported. I'm on Flight 11. This plane has been hijacked. She was then disconnected. She called back, listened to me, and listened to me very carefully. Within seconds, her befuddled respondent was replaced by a voice that she knew. Amy, this is Michael Woodward. The American Airlines flight service manager had been friends with Sweeney for a decade, so he didn't have to waste any of his time verifying that this wasn't a hoax. Michael, this plane has been hijacked, Miss Sweeney repeated. Calmly, she gave him the seat locations of 3 of the hijackers, 9D, 9G, and 10B. She said they were all of Middle Eastern descent, and one spoke English very well. So because of them, the FBI was able to solve this very, very quickly.
Nice.
So thank you to them.
That's awesome. Good for them. Good for
And
them.
number 1 might make me cry. His name was Rick Rescarola. He was responsible for saving more than 2,700 lives, and he sang songs to keep people calm while they were evacuated. Rick was the head of security in the South Tower. After the first plane hit, he was ordered to keep people at their desks, and he literally said, "Piss off, you son of a bitch. Everything above where that plane hit is going to collapse, and it's going to take the whole building with it. I'm getting my people the fuck out of here."
There we go. Good man.
And he ordered the building to evacuate. He had implemented practice emergency drills 4 times a year since the bombings in 1993, and it paid off. Within 16 minutes after the first plane hit the North Tower, more than 2,700 employees and visitors were out of the South Tower when the second plane hit. While he was evacuating people, he kept them calm by singing over a bullhorn as they were walking down the stairs. He was singing songs such as "God Bless America." During the evacuation, he called his wife and he told her, "I have to get these people out safely. If something should happen to me, I want you to know that I've never been happier. You made my life." He was last seen on the 10th floor of the South Tower, and his body was never recovered.
Oh, man.
It's so sweet. Like it's funny too, because like I really like this true crime show called Last Podcast on the Left.
Yeah.
You've heard of that? Yeah, and they say that it's like a Dwight guy. It's a Dwight guy, you know, like from The Office. Dwight.
Yeah.
Like where
Yeah,
he's
they-
always making you follow rules and like do
Yeah.
these weird protocols that you don't give a shit about. You know, hey, that dude fucking will save your life one day. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's an asshole, he's obnoxious, and you're like, I don't give a shit right now. But that fucking Dwight dude is gonna save your life one day. You know, if something
And
like this happens.
He said after the 93 bombings, this is going to happen again, and next time it's going to be a lot worse, and they're going to come from the air. So he knew.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like the idea of rules and regulations, and they call it red tape. But
It's there for a reason.
It's there for a reason. Red tape and regulations are the rules that keep us safe.
And he actually was instrumental in implementing like those safety plans after the bombings, because he wanted to be able to know that he was going to be able to get his people out safely. 4 times a year. Could you imagine being on the top of that tower and having to walk down 4 times a year?
Well, you know what? I think
It's annoying. It's annoying. You'd probably hate that guy.
You know, when you get a building with 100 somewhat floors, and you know full well, as soon as there's an emergency, those elevators aren't working, all you have is a stairwell. There's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better coming down 100 flights of stairs. It's a long way down, man. It's a long way
They
down.
need a spiral slide for small people.
I was
Get them out of the way at least.
Yes.
You know?
A fire pole or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
A fire pole.
Not 100 floors. Come on.
I can spiral down 100 flights. I can do that. I can do it.
I mean, on slide, yes. On a fireman's pole, no. That's
Yeah,
Oh,
not
no,
called-
on a fireman's pole, you just like eventually let go and be like, I'm just weightless.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's happening.
Oh,
Okay, now that we're all thoroughly depressed.
that's right.
No, let's get a little happier.